Hello everyone, this is Brother Jonathan Airwood posting this video today on behalf of Pastor Terah Olukol, and to give everybody an update. I'm still continuing to work on a video of our trip that we took back in November of last year in 2019, and we had a wonderful time with the Lord. I got acquainted with a really precious brother and many other pastors and friends in the country of Uganda. And it was such a blessing to us. I was blessed to be able to go with my dad, who's been a missionary and evangelist for many, many years. He's been to Africa more times than one. And but I had a need that has come up this week, and as many of y'all know, the coronavirus pandemic has caused a worldwide effect, and for many countries like those in Africa and South America, in the Middle East and Asian countries, and in different parts of the world, it affects different countries differently. And this pastor hasn't asked for any help since we returned from the trip in Uganda. Just been keeping us posted and letting us know what's happening there. But just this week, he asked me to let pastors and churches know, especially those that he's visited and got acquainted with, that there is a really big need for food. There are people that are starving. It's difficult to explain the situations with any perhaps third world country or developing countries. We don't understand, especially here in this country, the United States of America, the need that's there. And there is a tremendous need that there. They do not have the Social Security like we have here in the United States. They don't have the food stamps. They don't have all the Medicare and Medicaid and all the health care systems. So there's more aspects than just there's poverty there. There's a whole lot more to it than that. Their church and the churches in that area regularly feed the widows and the orphans anyway. Again, they don't have the foster care system. A lot of the programs that we have here in the United States, they do not have. They also don't have the technology that we have. Concerning the food situation, a lot of there in that area of Uganda, as it is in many other parts of the world, their main business or their way of making a living is simply agriculture and them farming in their own backyard and going off to larger farms and farming, whether it's bananas or whether it's rice or whether it's growing in their part of the world, it's yams and cassava and different foods like that. And so when the government comes in order to stop the spread in that nation and country and pretty much shut everything down, then the people that are there don't have a way of leaving home. All they're stuck with is whatever they've got in their backyard. They don't have the way of preserving it. As a matter of fact, most of their food they take and bring it in fresh from their own backyard and eat it the same day. They don't have, and the reason for that, they don't have the refrigeration like we have, refrigerators, freezers, electricity, all that. They just don't have it. As a matter of fact, when we went to his church, they don't have the running water there at the church. They don't have the plumbing, as in a PVC or toilets or anything like that. It's basically just an outhouse. It's almost like stepping back maybe about 100 years in the past back to this country. So they're so far behind in technology, and there is a tremendous need for help. But anyway, he come to me again and asked for if we could help some of the brothers and sisters there. This gentleman, Pastor Terah Olukol, is a pastor of over 800 church members, as well as about 15 or more pastors under him, and they work. Different villages have different pastors, and all these pastors work together. And so not only does he help with his church, he's also helping in churches around that have needs. And this pastor, as we spent a lot of time with him, I do trust him wholeheartedly. And with the work, I know that he will do well with anything that's sent. So I'm not asking. I've had people for a long time that always ask us, well, why do you feel the need to help others in other countries when we have people in need right here at home? And the only thing that I could think, and I have thought about it a lot, and that's true, we do have needs here. We have needs in our downtown areas in certain parts of the United States, and with homeless and stuff. Yes, we have a need, and all I can say to that, well, two things really. One is, if you do have a burden for that and you have a concern for that, then maybe the Lord's laying it on your heart to go and do and work in that kind of ministry instead of just talking about it. If the Lord gives you the burden to do that, then you need to obey the Lord and be a help some way and somehow to somebody. And then also, I'll also say that I do believe that the poorest people here in the United States of America do not have as many resources and people and programs to go to as people in other parts of the world. So when Pastor Terah come to me and told me literally that people are starving, that they're not just hungry, and when we hear that word starving, it's a bit of an exaggeration because there's nobody here in this country that really should be starving. We have no excuse. We have so much waste and so much money to give to everyone else that there shouldn't be anybody going to bed hungry, much less starving in this country. But the people around the world in different situations are literally starving. And but I wanted to, before I get off of here, I did want to take you through some of the services and explain to you some of what's going on and show you and walk you through right quick the trip that we made. It won't be a full. I'm trying to gather together a full program of this so I can run everybody through it. But when we first showed up at his church, Pastor. I noticed when we were driving down the road, his church sits off of the main highway, which is pretty much just a 2-lane road. But when we first pulled up at the church, there weren't a lot of vehicles out there. It's a nice, good-sized church building, but there weren't a whole lot of people out. As soon as we walked in, they were already singing and praising the Lord and dancing and prepared to welcome us, and we were really touched and blessed by it. My dad on that Sunday morning got up and gave his testimony and ministered. And again, I felt like I wanted to let him preach and have as much opportunity as possible because it is my dad. He does have a marvelous testimony. If you've never heard it before, you need to get him to you. If you're a pastor of a church or someone, get him to come and share his testimony because it's wonderful and it'll bless you. But we use that kind of to begin the convention with. All right, so the church is actually has a couple of concrete pillars, but the majority of the church building itself is nothing but timbers that are tied together and nailed together, and has sheet metal that's actually screwed into the timbers. And so most of his church is all metal. And whenever it come time for day one of the convention, they actually took off the back section of the church building there, and then added tents on the outside in order to accommodate more people. And by the end of the convention, there weren't as many on Monday, but the crowds continued to grow. The word continued to get out. And I just want to take you right quick through some of the services that we have and in the order that we had them. And I didn't get, again, this isn't a full rendition of everything. I would love to get that to especially a lot of the supporters. But here are some of the services, and we hope that God blesses you through them.
Jesus Christ. Our authority comes through the same word of God. Amen.
Amen.
Deliverance comes through the Word of God. That's why it's important for every one of us to hear the Word. To receive the Word. To believe the Word. And put the Word into action.
Get our brothers here. Jesus Christ. That's right. In the name of Jesus Christ. In the name of Jesus Christ. Father God, you're going to use them. As you live in them. They are your sons. They are your daughters. In the name of Jesus. Therefore, God is still here. And if we will only believe, all things are possible. With God. With God. Jesus came 2,000 years ago. And he spoiled principalities and powers. And he made a show of them. Triumphing over them devils. In it. And then he come out in Matthew 28:18 and said, all power has been given unto me. Go ye therefore, and cast out devils.
What is he saying here? He's saying the Father has his own power. And he has authority over times and seasons. And then he wanted to tell us, you also will receive power. Not Jesus is the Holy Ghost baptizer. John the Baptist said, I'm not worthy to unloose his shoes. He's greater than I am. He will baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire. Holy Ghost and with fire. Fire. Fire of the Holy Ghost. Fill me with the Holy Ghost. And with fire. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Put your voice to the Lord. Jesus is the baptizer.
Yes,
in the Holy Ghost. It's his desire to give you the Holy Ghost. I come up with the evil spirits and we attack upon this world. In this world. In this world. In the name of Jesus. They will leave this world. Set to free. In Jesus' name. In the name of Jesus. We break the next world. I give unto you, I mean, the keys of the kingdom.
That's why you can cast devils out of people. Amen. 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 God, I thank you for these. I thank you for these. I thank you for these. Being real. Yes, and being serious. Yes, and being honest. Hallelujah. Thank you. Help me pray. Help me thank God. Expectant. This is your time. We are not to touch you. We are not to heal you. We are not to deliver you from that situation. I want us to pray. Then we shall anoint you. Repeat this one for me. Say, Lord Jesus. Lord Jesus. I come to you tonight. I come, my Father. May you touch me. Holy Spirit, you are a purifier. Come and purify me. Come and purify me. Right now. Every situation that is troubling me, I command. I break. I destroy. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Every sickness in my body, right now, I break, I destroy, in the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus, every spirit of witchcraft sent against me, sent against my business, any bondage in my life, right now, I break, I destroy, in the name of Jesus. You are still doing miracles. You are still performing miracles. You are still healing. You are still saying we got free. Right now, I take authority to come against every evil spirit, to come against every demon, every witchcraft, every disease, every
am a cell pastor of Moru. May God bless you. Let me just take back the microphone to the host. Hallelujah. She's the one who's going to do the rest. God bless you.
Hallelujah.
That is not enough for me.
Amina.
Amina.
Hallelujah. Akwamine jagero high five. Say neighbor, you're welcome. Hallelujah. Amen.
Amen.
I'm called Pastor Nancy.
Still with me. I'm ready. Let me live another 31 years. So I could come by here on this brother's invitation. All of you agreed. I thank y'all. I bless you in Jesus' name. I bless you in Jesus' name. By the blood of the Son of God. Upon my brothers and sisters. If someone knows a song, or the MC, she's got it right there. You sing Song of Love about Jesus.
Blood of Jesus.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Jesus, wash me in your blood. I'm sorry for sinning against you. Jesus, I'm here to ask you to come live in my soul, in my heart. Jesus, I want all of you to talk to me. I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to say this. Amen to the Lord. Jesus, come into me. Holy Ghost, help Jesus. Come live in me. Thank you, Jesus, for washing me in your blood. In the name of Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for making me your child. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
I believe the most touching part for me about the whole trip was seeing the needs of the people, and seeing the and tremendous need, and different people that come for prayer, their sincerity, their faith, their simplicity, them taking, even though they had very little compared to, say, what we have, that they were grateful, that they were thankful, they were full of joy, even in some of the videos and pictures that you'll see of Pastor Terah and them handing out the food to these people. These are people, they're not playing games. It's not a scam or anything like that, but these people are really happy to receive the food because there is such a need there, and yet they're so happy and grateful. And their hospitality there was absolutely tremendous. And we do appreciate that. I do want to mention again, there is a need there. And if the Lord lays it on your heart to help us, we would really appreciate it. We'll do our best. If you want to get with me, maybe to Pastor Terah's already said, if it's easier to explain to pastors here or individuals here how to get funds there, that it may be easier for me to communicate to people rather than them trying to talk to him, and I will see personally that it gets to him directly, because we do have a good relationship, good friendship, and we will see, and he will see that it gets directly to the needs of the people. We ask that you pray as you've been praying for the churches and pastors here, the needs of people here, those that are sick with this virus, those that are struggling, whether they're in ministry or in pastoring or on their jobs, or pray for this country. Continue to pray for our government, that the Lord will give them wisdom and guidance and what to do in the days ahead. We are living in different times. I do believe that everything is going to be all right. I don't believe it's time to panic or be frightened. I believe it's time for us to finally, as the Bible says, more times than one, be sober, because we know that the end is coming. We know that every one of us will face the judgment of God, and we will stand before the Lord one day. But we need to be prepared for that, and we need to be prepared for that every day, not just when things seem to get rough. Do want to thank you again for listening today, and again, if you have any more questions, do feel free to give me a holler. I do want to say again, I thank and appreciate everyone that has already given to help support us and the trip that we made over there, and you gave and you helped, and everything that you did was a blessing to so many people, and you were a blessing to us and an encouragement to us, and we thank you so much for it, and God bless.